Oh my gosh, hey, what are you doing? Okay.
It's not your average burglary suspect.
Whoa, okay, buddy. Yeah. Right here.
She may be cute, but deputies were on her tail trying to track down her partner in crime.
We saw a guy on a security camera trespassing on some guy's property with his horse. We're not sure if the horse is stolen or if it actually belongs to him.
What's your name?
This guy, identified by Pasco deputies as Lonnie Maddox, was caught nearby. The sheriff's office says he broke into a Newport Richey home Thursday around 10:20 in the morning.
He brought a horse along with him. He then kind of wandered around the property, kind of looking into some things. He then entered a screened-in porch.
He had no luck there, so went to the back where deputies say he broke a window and crawled in. Nobody was home, but homeowner Steve Ferguson saw what was going on through his indoor surveillance camera and called 911.
I really didn't think the guy was going to break into the house. He had a getaway horse, so it was a little odd.
Deputies say Maddox didn't take anything, but he was still arrested for breaking into private property. His accomplice didn't make it far either.
You know, in fact, let me give it some animal crackers. That way it builds trust. So.
And that was enough to get Angel to change her ways.
I tell you what, I get so many of these calls. They call me Deputy Doolittle.
Natalia Verdina, Fox 13 News.
All right, buddy, bringing you back out here live to Phoenix, Arizona, where you can see our air quality is not the greatest, and our South Mountain Tower cam is shaking just a little bit, which means the wind is definitely blowing around out there. Again, this is News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. You got a little tidbit there of the next top story that I've got for you. It's taking a look at preventing sun-damaged skin. Our very own Anita Roman has this story.
The sun's rays have many benefits, but they can be harmful too.
Sun is the most aging thing that we can do to our body. It's even worse than smoking and high blood pressure and those kind of things. The sun is the worst thing. It's worse than actual aging.
Dr. Pablo Pritchard, chief of plastic surgery at John C. Lincoln Hospital, says sun damage includes dark spots, enlarged pores, pigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles, cancer, and more. But he says there are ways to reverse the damage that's already been done.
This is a diamond-coated burr, and here we're actually shaving off the bad sun-damaged skin.
From the most aggressive to the less evasive treatments like lasers and chemical peels, Dr. Pritchard says the most important thing is a good defense.
The best blocks are the physical blocks because those actually you reverse the light and refract it away from the skin. Those are things like titanium dioxide and anything that zinc oxide is another one. Those refract the light away.
He recommends wearing a shot glass full of sunblock. If it's not a physical blocker, apply it 20 to 30 minutes before exposure. And he says always reapply because not everything is really sweat and waterproof. Anita Roman, Fox 10 News.
All right, we're taking a live look now at the United States Capitol, in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We're going to head back over to Texas for this next top story because after 47 days, the management of an old East Dallas apartment complex affected by a crane collapse is finalizing plans to move it. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration finally announcing it was safe to move the crane. Meanwhile, the process of returning belongings to tenants continues as many residents still don't have any of the things they were forced to leave behind. Fox's Linan Wynn reports.
I thought at this point at least I'd have a clearer sense of when I was going to get my possessions back, and that just hasn't occurred.
Oh my God, the crane is falling over!
Nearly 7 weeks after a crane collapsed into Elon City Lights, the crane itself hasn't moved, and patience among hundreds of displaced residents is wearing thin.
I thought, the initial response from them was great. We were getting updates at least every day, and then it kind of scaled off.
The site has been released by federal safety investigators, clearing the way for the crane company and apartment management to remove it. But residents are still not sure when they can get their cars and belongings back. Fox 4 contacted reps for Biggie and Rigging Crane Company, who directed us to Greystar Apartment Management. Greystar did not respond to our questions, but in their latest online update to residents, said a plan is being finalized.
There are sentimental objects that are in there. I mean, it's not truly about my bed. It's not truly about these things that can be replaced. It's about those items that are irreplaceable.
A previous update in June told residents their cars would be moved out by July 1st, and their belongings would be ready for pickup by July 15th. With both dates having come and gone, the latest timeline from apartment management is for residents to get their things back by August 18th.
I don't know. I would love that be the case, that by August 18th I'm going to be able to access my items. But from what we've seen, it's really up in the air of whether that's going to be true.
Fox 4 cameras did catch moving crews making some progress, and Greystar says crews have packed up 71 units so far, with still hundreds more to go.
We used to live in a place that we thought was safe and secure, never thinking the construction that was happening nearby would affect us like this.
Oh man, that's got to be absolutely frustrating for people who once lived in that apartment complex but haven't been ever since that crane collapsed onto it. Okay, one lucky duckling getting a second chance with a family of loons. Fox's Mari Glover has the story.
They're magical to me. They're call, they're just hearing them at night.
In the wild, their species are usually natural enemies. But a couple of loons in northern Wisconsin are treating one lucky duck like a member of the family.
They are pretty territorial, and they actually kind of go after the ducks or the mergansers. So to see one being taken care of is actually pretty amazing.
A team of researchers from the Loon Project spotted a pair of loons who've apparently adopted a mallard duckling on a lake between Rhinelander and Minocqua last month. The researchers believe the loons lost a recently hatched chick of their own and came across a duckling that had been separated from its family and decided to take the baby duck under their wing.
It's never been reported.
And researchers say the duckling is not only surviving with its foster parents, it's thriving by picking up some very loon-like behaviors. It not only rides on its parents' backs and eats the steady diet of small fish they feed it, the duckling has learned to dive for food on the lake bottom instead of foraging in shallow water or on the shoreline like other mallards.
So many of us have trouble accepting others that are unlike ourselves. Look at the loons. They're accepting another species, raising it, protecting it as their own. And so it's kind of a touching and a beautiful, heartwarming sight.
Researchers say the duckling is nearly old enough to spread its wings and leave the proverbial nest. But watching these unlikely allies in this natural experiment is no reason to cry foul.
I just hope that down the road the duckling learns to be a duck, because it's got too many different characteristics from a loon to survive.
Oh wow, the sound from those loons was absolutely beautiful. I don't think I've ever heard it before, but still. Beauty in the fact that those loons are taking care of that duckling. All right, we're going to head to California now, where some people are taking on some weightlifting competitions that you might not expect to be the ones competing.
We started 19 years ago. Bob was 73. He's now 92. People think when you get that age, your life is over. And everybody in this group has a different mindset about that.
I'll say the members of the Napa senior weightlifting team all have a different story, but all agree it has been life-changing for them.
I weighed 285 pounds. I waddled like a duck when I walked. I weigh 130 now. I own probably more than 20 world records. I've always liked competition, and this is good competition.
You know, as you get older, you get lazy, but you got to get off your butt and do something, or you're not going to be able to get out of bed.
Well, I started weightlifting because I was retiring at 50. I didn't want to be old and frumpy. I had 2 little granddaughters I wanted to keep up with.
And it's a joy. When I lift something and I've done better than I did last week, it's a joy.
A joy, too, to find out that 2 members of the team are in the Weightlifting Hall of Fame, and all 5 are currently champions in their respective weight groups.
I've been very fortunate with it. We have a lot of records, been in the Hall of Fame, and I've never gone to a competition where I have not made my lifts.
And all this hard work being put in by the Napa senior weightlifting team isn't going to go to waste either. August 10th, they'll be in Sacramento at the Crowne Plaza for their next competition. For Fox 40, I'm Mark Dembski.
All right, everybody, I probably should have thought this through a little bit better when I was going from top story to top story. That's because this next top story is also animal related. Turns out crocodiles are making a comeback. They are breeding in an unlikely environment, though. However, let's get the details.
And I'll release them right, and off they go.
American crocodiles are crawling back from the brink of extinction and thriving at, of all places, South Florida's Turkey Point nuclear power plant. Once endangered, they are now listed as threatened, thanks in large part to the Florida Power and Light Croc team. During hatching season, July and August, the Croc team hops on their airboats, zigzagging up and down Turkey Point's 170 miles of nuclear cooling canals, looking for nests and rescuing hatchlings. This year, they found 27 nests and taken about 300 baby crocs back to the lab.
Head length 4.0.
Wildlife biologist Mike Lorette measures their length, width, and girth and inserts a tiny microchip into each tail in order to track them over their lives.
They are not radioactive. That's definitely a question we get a lot.
The Croc team then releases the hatchlings back into the wild. 25% of the crocodile population calls this nuclear crocodile sanctuary home, which is perfect for them thanks to the canals, berms, and minimal human encounters, since it is a high-security facility.
This right here is an old crocodile nest, and you can still see some of the eggshells left behind. Adult females lay about 30 to 50 eggs every year, but most won't end up surviving due to predation by birds, fish, even other crocs.
Besides the fact that they're so crucial for the environment, and you go throughout the whole year waiting for this moment, waiting for those babies to hatch, collecting those babies, and then releasing them back into the wild, which is just the ultimate satisfaction.
And from there, these cute baby crocs, at least cute for now, are ready for the world. In Homestead, Florida, Phil Keating, Fox News.
Wow, that top story had a lot of cool video in it there. All right, we're continuing on with our top story segment right now on News Now, which is a part of fox10phoenix.com. Again, everyone, my name is Pilar Arias, and I'm so happy to be here with you Monday through Friday. Did you know that News Now streams for 13 hours a day? We start at 9 a.m. Arizona time. We go all the way till 10 p.m. Arizona time, which is 1 a.m. if you happen to be living or watching on the East Coast. We do have a lot of people who travel with News Now, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, well, this next top story, it's got a long intro, so some people always wonder, hey, why is she looking away from talking to us? That's because I'm reading something. We don't have a teleprompter here. We don't have scripts. I've got to look up information and give it to you the best way I can. So it turns out a lot of you have probably noticed the selection of meat substitutes in local markets are more abundant than they've ever been before. But as meat alternatives grow, state legislatures are taking a close look at how those products are labeled to make sure consumers know what they're buying. Fox News multimedia reporter Charles Watson is in Batesville, Mississippi with the details.
Inside Upton Natural Chicago warehouse. The company produces more than a half dozen vegan foods, including chicken and beef alternatives. But the brand might need to be more creative with marketing in Mississippi. The state passing a law making it illegal for companies to label plant-based foods as meat or meat food products.
This is really a protectionist move on the part of the meat industry to do whatever they can to try to squash our progress.
As the average American meat eater is set to devour nearly 222 pounds of meat this year, the Mississippi Cattlemen's Association say their 3,500 beef producers in the state want an equal shot at the grocery store.
We welcome competition. A level playing field is all that I think that we've asked for to make sure that what you buy, you know what it is.
At least 6 other states have passed similar labeling laws. The Institute for Justice has stepped in and is now representing vegan food makers. They filed a lawsuit claiming Mississippi is impeding on their First Amendment rights.
Customers get to decide what food they want to eat. It's not government's job to try to push them in one direction or the other.
The Cattlemen's Association says the right to choose is still alive and well in Mississippi and will be even clearer with the new labels.
It doesn't ban anybody from selling anything they're already selling now. They just have to label it correctly.
While the state's labeling law is currently on the books, the state is not enforcing it as the legal battle over the piece of legislation makes its way through the courts. In Batesville, Mississippi, Charles Watson, Fox News.
All right, everybody, it's question time. I like to ask you guys questions on the YouTube chat quite often, and now I'm going to at least try to ask them a little bit more while I'm actually speaking to you here on camera. So let's see those thumbs up emojis if you happen to go to the movies at all this weekend to see anything, whether it was a new release, something a little bit older, maybe you caught a dollar movie. Do those movie theaters still exist? Are drive-ins still out there? Come on, everybody, talk to me on the YouTube chat. Let's get the discussion going. Ashley Dvorkin is here to tell us whether The Lion King was able to stay on top this weekend or if somebody else or some other movie took its place. Let's find out.
Simba sits in the #1 spot for a second week in a row, while Tarantino marks a career best with his ode to Hollywood. Here's your box office breakdown. The remake of The Lion King remains #1, taking in $75.5 million, with its familiar story retold through photorealistic animation. In just its second week of release, the film now has a $350 million total and $962 million globally. If it crosses that worldwide $1 billion mark, it'll be the 4th Disney movie this year to do so, following Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel, and Aladdin.
Actors are required to do a lot of dangerous stuff.
Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is in second place at the box office with $40 million, giving the director his biggest opening weekend ever. The movie, set in 1969, stars Leonardo DiCaprio as a fading TV actor, Brad Pitt as his stunt double, and Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate. Rounding out the top 5 are Spider-Man Far From Home with $12.2 million, followed by Toy Story 4 with $9.8 million, and the horror thriller Crawl earning $4 million. And keep an eye on big blockbuster action to bank big next week as Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham join the summer movie season with the franchise spin-off Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Divisions. That's the New York Times this weekend. So, Mr. President, my differences with Democrats on complicated matters of election law